Good afternoon. I'm Alicia Wilson, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this week's edition of Entrepreneurship Matters. We have two amazing women. I call them the queens of sauce and spice here today. So I'm going to invite them on the screen. Then I'm going to get a setup, introduce them, give you their bios, which are amazing, and then launch right into our discussion. So Brittany, Chinara, come on screen. I'm going to give your bios. It is an honor to have both of them. You're going to see why in a minute. But we know that successful entrepreneurs, successful businesses are not built in a day, that it takes a long-term commitment, a lot of hard work, multiple failures to make it happen. And these two amazing women are no different. You'll see in a minute why I say so. They are extremely accomplished. We've been doing this for over 60 weeks. So we are about like 130 entrepreneurs that we've been showcasing. And it is my pleasure to end National Women's Small Business Month with two amazing women business owners. So let me give you their bios, and then we're going to launch right into the conversation. So let me first introduce, I'm not introducing them, presenting, because everybody should know Brittany and Chinara, but let me give you their businesses. First, I want to present Brittany Price, who is the owner and founder of Lady J. Lady J LLC was named after the matriarch of their family, Judith Stratton, born and raised in Washington, D.C. on October 2nd, 1947. She was a single mother of two children, a grandmother of six, and an all-around amazing woman who loved ladybugs and cooking. One thing for certain, Lady J made sure her family had the best of everything, even if she didn't have it. Unfortunately, she passed away from ovarian cancer in 2010. However, before her untimely death, she made sure that everyone knew that her spirit would live on forever. And just like that, Lady J was born. Lady J's motto was to pay it forward, and that's what Lady J LLC exudes. Lady J developed and enhanced a secret family sauce. This is secret. Oh, she's not going to tell us the ingredients that everyone grew to love. After she passed, people would mention that her sauce or say something to the fact, man, I wish Miss Judy was still alive. The sauce she used to make was the bomb. Well, they inherited the sauce and have continued to make it. In 2011, Lady J was established and Lady J sauce was born. The sauce is sweet and spicy. We're going to get into that. What does it taste like? But you can buy it today. Don't worry. It can literally be put on anything from wings to mac and cheese to give it that special kick. It's a highly favorite sauce that will be remembered forever. Brittany, thank you so much for being on today and introducing so many of us to Lady J sauce. Correction, established in 2018. So we're going to get right into excellent. But y'all were eating the sauce for decades. So I wasn't that wrong. Yeah. All right. Next, I want to introduce and present to others, Chinara Smith, Spice Living. I am a consummate buyer of Spice Living. I have all of my flavors, and Chinara gives me all of my great, No Job Turkey is my favorite. She is the owner of Spice Living Company, founded in 2016. Spice Living is your premier choice for home goods to liven up your cooking, enhance your relaxation, and tend to your body. Spice Living is dedicated to providing distinct gourmet spice blends to restaurants, home fragrance, and bath delights. In addition to providing products for the home, Chinara offers cooking classes. She told us I could sign up for individuals, families, groups, and organizations to help build teams and create memories. She's also a certified nutrition and wellness consultant and offers nutrition counseling and meal planning guidance for those on specific journeys to health and wellness. After realizing that taking the guesswork out of cooking was a major key to gather together around the table, she founded Spice Living to help bring people together and achieve wholeness through food. Whether it's a new homeowner living on their own, a person that just wants to clean up their diet to reverse diabetes, or a mom attempting to make that Thanksgiving meal. Don't worry, you can buy a little gift set later on today. She wanted to use spices to make life in the kitchen easier and more appealing. She is a proud Baltimorean, Graduate of the Polytechnic Institute. I think there's a homecoming this weekend or something like that.
Yes, we will win.
Yep. No, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not getting into that. She continued her education at Morgan State University, where she earned a bachelor's degree in English. She also has a master's degree in communications from Notre Dame of Maryland, and enjoys life in her family with her husband and her 2 young children. Welcome to both of you. So we're going to launch. Oh, we already have Go Bears in the chat. So yes, okay. So let me give the rules so that everyone who wants to participate in this conversation can, and I see that people are already doing so. You may put your questions or your comments in the chat. You may also, we already had a lot of comments. You may also, those of you who are watching on Facebook, I can see you're already putting things in the chat, but put them in the chat on Facebook. You can also, those of you listening on the phone, text your questions in. That's 22333 and then type JHUWL in the message. I'll get all of those questions and I'm going to weave them into the conversation. So let's just start off by asking, what prompted you to go into entrepreneurship? What made you want to become a business owner? 2018 for you, Brittany, 2016 for you, Chinara. What made you launch from making great spices, great sauce, but wanted to make it into a business? So I'll start with you, Brittany, and then Chinara.
So it inspired me to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to keep my grandma's legacy alive. So it was all about, since people loved her cooking, loved the sauce, every time we bought wings to a party, after she passed, people were like, man, where's the wings? Like, where's the sauce? And so just keeping her going and people can learn her name. That was one of the inspirations to get me to be an entrepreneur. And then also my husband, he's an entrepreneur. He has his own businesses, preaches business. And we're all about building generational wealth and having something left for our kids. So I wanted to make sure we can start something as a family to be able to incorporate them. And we also have other businesses, so we want to keep them included. And then also the aspect of people outside of our family and friends tasting the sauce and getting the reactions from it and just knowing that we have something really good. And so those 3 things helped inspire me to want to be an entrepreneur.
Excellent, excellent. I love how keeping your grandmother's name alive, right? And so it's a beautiful imagery. And yeah, I know people are probably asking where that sauce came from. Why don't we still have the sauce? So
yes,
thank you for feeling it. How about you, Chinara? What made you go from all those spices you were making to really launching it into a business?
Well, first, Alicia, I just want to thank you for having me on today. It's such an honor to be with you. I had to thank my husband for this. I do come from a family of entrepreneurs, but my husband, he owns Righteously Fit. He's a certified personal trainer. And he noticed that a lot of his clients were doing well with their fitness, but their nutrition was crappy. Mm-hmm. And so he asked me to join him in business and help his clients. So I went and I obtained a certification in nutrition and wellness. And I started to work one-on-one with his clients. And one thing I noticed, what we all know, it's tough to keep up with your meal plans. It's tough to keep things interesting in the kitchen. And I just literally started making spice blends in my kitchen to help his clients become more interested in what they were eating. To really show them that you didn't have to make baked chicken or baked fish the same way each time. And it really was just to complement his business. But then it just took off. Lots of more people were interested than his clients. And I just said, maybe this might actually be something here.
Wow. It's so interesting how both of you, your entrepreneurship journey started with your family and really built out of your family ties. And so I wonder how, I know many people are watching and wondering, how did you go from, right now you've made the decision, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to keep the legacy, I'm going to build generational wealth. How did you launch into a business though? Like, what were the steps you went through? Like, take us through, like, what did you do to be able to ensure that you were embarking upon something that was going to be sustainable, right? Because one thing to start something, but and in it. But how did you do that? So Brittany, tell us how'd you go through that journey?
Okay, so the steps we took to get to our business, we went to a Mother's Day cookout with my boyfriend at the time, now my husband, and we took our wings. So like I told you, when people taste this, like, oh, wow, this is amazing. He tried them, thought they were really good. And he was like, okay, what are you guys waiting for? You guys really need to sell these wings and this sauce so people can actually try it and get it on the shelf because it's so good. And so since my grandma's motto is to pay it forward, we felt like that's what we needed to do to get our business out there so other people can try it and taste the greatness that we have in our hands. And so with that, we took the steps, ended up attending an All Black National Convention in 2018, and that happened in October. And so there were a bunch of vendors. We met another chef who actually had a book, and it was like a guide to help you get your food product from your kitchen to on the shelves. And it was like so timely. Wow. It was amazing. And it was like, wow, I think this is something, it's like calling us. And so after we got that book, we had to figure out, you know, what is the name of our business going to be? And so we started talking about it. My mom called me one day and she said, I got it. And I'm like, what? And she's like, Lady J. And I'm like, okay. And as you said in the story, my grandma, Lady J, she loved ladybugs. And so that's where we got the lady, and her first name is Judith. So that's how we got the J. And so we named it Lady J LLC and established the business in Maryland. And then from there, we had to figure out how to scale the sauce up because we only knew it to make the wings for the parties. And so my mom, Wanda, she got in the kitchen. We worked together to perfect it. I'm the person who always measures and tries to get things perfect so we can actually figure this thing out. And so at that point, we started measuring, got it right, and was able to keep doing it. And we were like, okay, we got this. And so after we received that guide, it took us through some steps for how we can actually get our sauce on the market. And so from there, we had to make sure we can get the FDA approvals, the nutritional facts. We had to find a commercial kitchen, get our licenses, the EIN numbers, and all that good stuff. And so once we did all of that, we were doing the research and we saw that We Buy Black was having a convention. We had already planned on attending, but I had saw that they were having a hot sauce competition. And so at this time, we didn't have our labels. We didn't have anything officially ready yet. And so from there, I went on a whim and I said, okay, I'm apply. So I applied, not thinking anything of it, and ended up getting in the competition. And we got an email and it was like, fill out the entry form, and it told us the requirements. And one of the requirements was to be manufactured in a food facility. And so we weren't at the time. So I immediately disqualified us myself because I was like, we're not in the kitchen, so I don't think we can do it. And so I counted us out. And then that Friday of the convention, it was a 2-day convention. And that Friday, that morning, I had got on the app that they had, and it had the schedule of all the events and everybody who was attending. And so when I clicked on Saturday, it had a hot sauce competition. I clicked it, I saw my name, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, we're in the competition, so we need to figure this thing out because it caught me by surprise. Had no idea we were actually going to be in it. But luckily, we had already been working on trying to get the labels and get everything officially done. So we came up with the actual label to put on our sauce at that time. And then we had bottles already. And so we were planning on going to the convention anyway. So we were like, we were going to take it with us. But after finding out that we were actually in the hot sauce competition, it just, did something. It was like, okay, this is amazing. Like, people can taste our sauce. We're not officially in it, but I wanted to confirm to make sure this was really true. And so we ended up going up there on that Friday, talking to the assistant, and she assured us that yes, we were in it and to be ready on Saturday. And so we ended up entering the competition. We actually won the competition, and we competed against 3 other hot sauce companies, and we won. And from there, in order for our sauce to be announced as the winners, we had to get in the commercial kitchen, so that we can be officially in and they can let everybody know. Lady J Sauce won the 2018 We Buy Black hot sauce competition. And so from there, it was a chef, a known chef, Chef Chinara, and his team. They said they knew of a kitchen in Atlanta. At this time, we were in Atlanta. And so they recommended us to the commercial kitchen that we are now members of. And from there, we were able to branch off and actually get our sauce business officially started. And it felt amazing. And so winning the competition really pushed us forward to know that we really had something good, because it was people outside of our family and friends that were tasting it and giving us the compliments and actually trying it. And it was just reassuring that, we had something great. And so from there, that's how we got started. We pushed it and we started our website and, got our labels officially done, hired a phenomenal graphic designer who helped us brand. And that's how we have Lady J Sauce and what it looks like today. And so, yeah, that's how we started our business, and it's been great.
That's an amazing story.
Thank you.
There's so many God moments and faith moments in that story, in what you said. I took down notes. I have 12 points. I'm going to recap them so people who are taking notes also need a little bit of inspiration can call them. You went to I'll call this the friends and family round. You went to the Mother's Day cookout with your wings to test out the sauce. You realized it was continued to be a hit. Then you attended a business conference and picked up a book. What's the name of the book? You shout them out.
Yes, so this is his old book. It's been updated since, but it's Chef Joseph's The Entrepreneur's Guide to Getting Your Food Product from the Kitchen to Becoming Market Ready. And so his book helped us, it guided us through the steps of how to get your sauce actually ready.
All right, we're going to see if we can find that so we can put it link in the chat and everything for people who are watching. But great book. You got the book. Then you went to naming the business, got inspiration from your mom. Then you established your business, did all of the paperwork and things of that sort. Then you thought about scaling. So measuring, I didn't even think of this, measuring to make sure your recipe is what you want it to be. Then you took it out to the market, got your FDA, your nutrition labeling, your licensing, your EIN. Then you went to the We Buy Black. That was just an inspirational story of not taking yourself out of the competition, and you miraculously are still in the competition.
Right.
And ultimately, that is a launch pad. Beautiful, beautiful story of.
Thank you.
It's so inspiring, so inspiring. How about you, Chinara? How did you start go? We know your husband, he has clients. They're like, I don't want to eat bland salmon and chicken. You come up with the spices, but what took you into starting the business?
Well, I think, first and foremost, I had to go in some serious prayer about it because, I couldn't take my family on this journey if it was something that really just wasn't ordained by God. So I did that. That was very important. But I also had to do a lot of research. I'm not a chef. I've never been to culinary school. I can cook, I can throw down, but I knew that spices were not my area of expertise. So I had to really do some real research and learn about flavor profiles and learn about spice blends, what goes with what. And that took a decent amount of time because, sometimes we just, we get in the kitchen and we just throwing stuff together and sometimes it works. But, when you are selling a product, you can't just be doing that. Like, Brittany said, you got to make sure your measurements are on point. Customers, they buy a product from you and the next time they come back, they want that same exact product. So recipe development was pretty crucial. And just like Brittany, Brittany, we just met today, everybody, but Brittany and we on the same page.
Y'all the whole time.
Yes.
Y'all gonna see more of us together. But, one of the things that I dealt with too, I was doing this in my home. You can't do this in your home, but it was at a point where I wasn't sure if I wanted to really step into this as a business. So the moment where I knew that, okay, this is what I want to do, I cannot do this at home. Nobody's going to show up at my door and find me, or, I knew I needed to take the proper steps. And at that point, I made sure that I obtained all the licenses that I needed. And one thing that I did is contracted with a co-packer to help me produce my product. Their spices aren't as regulated as some other foods in the industry, but you want to make sure nobody gets sick with your product. Things are being manufactured the right way, they're being handled the right way, and that's something that was super important to me. So after like I said, I mentioned obtaining all the proper licenses and insurances, I went on my marketing journey, which is quite a journey in itself. Branding. I actually started off not as Spice Living. I started off as Righteously Sweet Shop, because that was a counterpart of my husband's.
Okay.
And, I at one point I say, I told my husband, I love you, but I'm straying away from you now. I'm getting into my own thing. I wanted to be in the home, the full home, with my home fragrance and body products. I just had several shifts along the way. So the branding, the marketing, I know we'll get into that a little later probably, but that's pretty much the actual process that got me up and running.
Excellent. Couple of great points you just made that I think are extremely helpful. One, you prayed about it, which I know of your faith and your family, and so not surprising that you did that and oriented yourself around that. Two, you researched on spices, realized you had a knowledge gap, right? You didn't know all about spices, flavor profiles. Third, you went into the recipe development so that, again, you could continue to replicate what you were doing. Fourth, you went into licensing and insurance. I think just so pivotal. Fifth, I think you dropped a bomb on folks talking about the co-packer and thinking about really the consistency as well as the safety of your product, given you're in the food industry. You changed the name, thought about marketing, thought about what was going to be sustainable for where you thought the brand, where you believe the brand is going. And then seven, focusing, doubling down on that marketing and branding as well. So let me ask you both just gems that you both dropped, and we're getting so many questions in. So everybody's giving y'all, somebody said Mama's Judy sauce and anything she cooks soothes my soul. That's so beautiful. So again, a lot of shout outs, both of you. Let me ask you this question to talk about how, a little bit about the growth of your businesses. And I've seen both of your businesses grow over time. So how did you think about funding and capital raise for your business? We got that question a couple of times. How did you think about the capital that was going to be necessary to launch your business? How did you even assemble that? So Brittany, start with you and then Chinara.
So for our business, we work full time. So we also have our family business. So what we've done is use our salaries to help fund the business. And then from there, we just make sure we get whatever we need through what we have. We haven't really gone for funding per se. Through COVID, we were able to get some assistance, but other than that, it's really been us working full time and using our salaries to help fund the business and grow it how we have so far.
Excellent. That's very, very helpful. And we're gonna get to that financing piece because there's some investors on watching. So I want us to talk a little bit about how we can shift that for you as well, because you are growing. So definitely. How about you, Chinara? How have you been able to capital raise?
Yeah, so starting off completely self-funded. I have a 9-to-5. So my 9-to-5 funds a lot of my business, savings. I have been creative along the way. I've used commerce platforms for capital, which is really good. And a lot of people don't always know that you can tap into, depending on who you use for your commerce platform, they do have capital available. So that has been very helpful when I've expanded my business and went from spices to adding more home fragrance and body products. That was very helpful. I have also, I've really just had to be super creative, and I added a service component to my company when there were times where I know that I needed extra capital. I started the cooking classes, and that was a way for me to raise funds without having to provide a product. Only thing I really needed to do cooking classes was my laptop, a Zoom membership, and an audience. And that was a very, very great way to raise capital, without having to incur any type of overhead. Another thing that I have done that I would suggest to people is taking advantage of pre-orders. If it's something, a new collection or new line that I might have, I would do pre-orders. You would be able to get funds in advance of the pre-order, and you just make it very clear to the customer that the order might be ready in 2 months from now, but this is what happens when you do a pre-order. And that's a way to kind of jumpstart what it is that you really want to sell. So I've just had to be really creative, but the main thing is, as Brittany mentioned, I still am a 9-to-5. I've been with the federal government for about 20 years. So, I'm not ready to leave that quite yet. So that definitely helps to fund my company.
Yeah, no, both of you talk about, you always wonder what is the behind it. And as we think about, I'm going to let you both speak to some investors. We're waiting to get Oprah on so she can watch and you can talk to her, but I'll confirm whenever she gets on. But, thinking about how we can be supportive of your businesses through the capital raise, and how many of you are self-funding, but really we should be able to access other funds to be at the growth, continue to grow at an exponential rate. So let me ask you this question, which has come through a couple of different times, which is both of you have a following, tremendous following. How did you go about building your clientele? How did you get your following? How did you get your wholesale clients, which both of you have? How did you think about building that for folks who are watching and thinking about going that same vein? So Brittany and then Chinara.
So for us, it has really been vending and getting people to taste our sauce and actually know what it tastes like on food, because we also cater. We have a catering aspect as well. And so we have specialty items that we offer, which is our Lady J wings, our Lady J beans, our ribs. And like we talked about earlier, the sauce can pretty much go on anything. We have Old Lady Original, we have Old Lady Original Vegan. So when people taste that sauce, it makes you want to get more. And so we offer the single bottles, we offer 3-packs, 12-packs, and we also have the wholesale. So once people run out, it intrigues them to want to come get some more, make sure, we run out of stock, we're getting messages like, when are you going to restock? And so just having that network of being able to vend, go to events, have people try it, catering, people are trying the sauce, just getting it in people's mouths to taste what we have and understand our product and, reassure us that we have something great.
No, absolutely. People kept asking us when we were going to have you two on in particular. And so, the word of mouth on both of your businesses is tremendous. Chinara, tell us, how did you go about building your clientele? And I think I met you probably now that I realize it, like almost when you first started. I feel like I bought like one of the first bottles, I feel like. But how did you build your clientele?
Yeah, I think, one thing for me, I'm a member of a mega church, right? I go to New Psalmist Baptist Church, over 7,000 members. And my pastor, Bishop Walter Scott Thomas, has been phenomenal with putting me out there to members. The bulk of my clientele are church members and their families or their friends. That has been like really kind of what took me to the next level. Also my sorority sisters, They have been great in supporting me. I think I may have met you after we've met before, but with Carmen as one of my line sisters. You know, my sorority sisters, they put me out there and they promote me so well. So like those networks really help me out a lot. But like Brittany said, the vending is great. That's a great way to just meet people and to talk to people. You get to know them personally. You get to hear their stories, what they like. I mean, you'd be surprised the types of things that people tell you at vending events. I mean, I'm just trying to sell spices, and I can hear the story of the husband that don't cook and the wife that's tired and she ready to leave. But I love talking to people like that. You know, I love to hear their stories and I love to make connections with them and find similarities with them. And that has been great as well. The vending has slowed down a lot with COVID just because I'm a little more cautious about, being out there and talking to people one-on-one. But even the events that I've done during the pandemic have, proven to be very successful. And I'm always grateful when I do get those opportunities to be out in public and, be able to talk to people. Social media has been good as well. It's a little slow kind of, building a following sometimes. Sure. But one thing that I've noticed is that like my following is consistent. I have the customers that they come back, the same ones, they always come back. Like that's my goal, is to get people to come back. So when I go and I look at people's order history and I see that, hey, this person has bought for me 30 times. Like that's kind of what I want to see. I mean, I love to get to new people. Right now I feel like Baltimore knows about Spice Living, but I need to make that more known nationally. So,
you're on here now.
Yeah, I'm on here now. Hey, national people. But that's probably what my goal is for building my clientele. But like I say, I think the main thing that really helped me was actually my pastor really putting me out there, and people how people are with their pastor tell them to do something, they do it.
Yeah. Bishop, one of those people. Let me ask you this, which let me get this in, because people are already putting in the chat. How do we buy? Where do we buy? Where do we go? So we're going to get to that earlier in the webinar than we usually do. So I want both of you to tell us how we can purchase for you, so I can get that out, so we can get people buying, and then we're going to continue in this conversation and go off that. But how can people buy? And let me tell y'all, there's some specials for us today. So they did some things just for those watching Entrepreneurship Matters today. So Brittany, tell us, how do we purchase the sauce? What's the deal today? What things can we think about? How can we why should we buy even more than we would ever buy today?
So you can visit us at ladyjsauce.com. And we have our code today, JH Connects, and you'll get 15% off your order through the weekend, through Sunday, 11:59 p.m. So visit us at ladyjsauce.com. We have a single bottle. We have 3 packs, 12 packs for our Old Lady Original and our Old Lady Original Vegan.
All right, you just got 15% off. Lady J, shop ladyj.com. Get your sauce today. Okay, so Chinara, tell us about Spice Living. How can we get purchased?
All right, so you can visit my website, www.spiceliving.com. That's SPICED living.com. And I too have a promotion, entering code JH Connects for 15% off. That will end Friday at midnight. I know it's payday tomorrow, so y'all make sure that y'all remember me when you get your paycheck. I do have a special Thanksgiving spice collection that is on my website. So you all would love to get that. I have everything from your stuff you need for your turkey to your collard greens to your dressing or your stuffing, depending on where you're from. So I would love to answer any questions that you might have. You can find my contact information on my website, social media at Spice Living as well. If you have questions about what to buy, just feel free to reach out to me.
Okay, y'all are getting so many comments, endorsements on the chat on Facebook. Your sauces are the winners. Your spices are amazing. So use the discount, y'all, and get your spices and your sauces. So I'm going to go back to the question. One, it is so economical to buy your sauce. How did you get to your price point? We've heard that from a couple of entrepreneurs. How did you think about pricing for your products that you have? So Brittany, how did you get to that? And then Chinara.
It took a lot of researching and
Sure.
seeing what the ingredients and how much those cost and factoring in the sizing of the bottles, how much we're offering, and also accounting for how great the sauce is and just knowing the type of product we have. And after doing research, you do market research to figure out your competition. And so looking at all the other sauces that were on the market and comparing theirs to what ours could be. And we started at a certain price point, and after doing the research, understood what we actually needed to do to factor in to get where we are today. So the market research was the major key to get our pricing.
Excellent, excellent. That's great advice. How about you, Chinara? How did you get to your price point?
Yeah, same here. A lot of market research, also incorporating the price of what it takes for me to make the spices, the cost of my labeling, the cost of what I've paid for designing the label. Spices, it's a tough market because everybody knows you can go into the grocery store and you can get, I won't say any names for any other companies, but you can find, a spice for $1 or $2 sometimes when you go to the store. And that's kind of challenging when my spices are $10 a piece. And one thing that I will say is that I pride myself on developing a product that is fresh. Spices aren't as regulated as some other food products. So you may not see an expiration date on some spice bottles. You might see a best by date, but the FDA doesn't require you to put an expiration date. So I tell people where they come to me and they say, hey, why is this $10 or so on? And I'll say, well, you have no idea the spice that you just picked up in the spice aisle. You don't know when they made that. You don't know how long that's been sitting on the shelf. And I make sure that my spices are developed small batch, fresh. You're not going to get anything from me that's been sitting on the shelf from last season. That I just refuse to offer that. So I try to make sure that that's reflected in my price, so I can guarantee you get a high quality, premium, fresh product. So I incorporated that into my price point as well.
Excellent, excellent. And so what has been, both of you have achieved a lot in a short amount of time. But what is one of those things that you point to and you're like, this is my greatest achievement thus far? Is there a particular moment or a particular thing that really you point to as that? Brittany, what would do you have one of those moments?
Yes, I have several.
Several. All right, that's right. Great.
So like we had the We Buy Black competition and we won that. That was a great success. And then also every time we have a vending event or we're consistent at a farmer's market and we get recurring customers, that makes us, feel good. And then also when a new person tries Lady J sauce and we get that reaction, every time it's like reassuring and it's like, okay, yes, we did do something good and they love it every single time. And it just makes us want to do more. So trying to grow our business and expand and do new things is such a great inspiration.
Excellent, excellent. No, that is the repeat. I bet the repeat is, you don't realize what you do as a customer, but now hearing you all, that joy. How about you, Chinara? What's one of your greatest accomplishments?
I think one of my greatest accomplishments was after I hosted an 8-week Thanksgiving cooking class series, and talking to one of my students after the series was up. It was a very emotional conversation in which she told me that she felt like a failure of a mom and a wife because she really just couldn't cook for her family. she was a stay-at-home mom. So she thought like, well, all I have to do is, cook and make sure the house is well prepared and wash clothes. And she said, I can't even get the cooking right. And, I work with her on the side. We had the class, but I work with her separately. And we threw in some extra recipes, how to do some basic things like grilled chicken. I mean, you'd be surprised at the types of things that people just don't know how to do. But I was patient with her, and we learned. And she came to me and she said, I really think that these cooking classes probably saved my marriage. And I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting to hear that. But the simple fact that I can't take as much for granted when cooking comes easy to me. It doesn't come easy to everybody. And some people say, it saves their lives because they're not eating out as much. But to hear this person really say like how much it was messing with her mentally, and it was really draining her to know that she couldn't adequately provide healthy and delicious meals for her family. And now she's gotten it. That really changed the game for me, because at that point, it was no more about just selling spices. It was really how to make an impact and really bring the family together.
No, that's really beautiful. And I mean, I think we got a number of comments about your classes in the chat. After this, I hope you look at the chat and get uplifted about what people are saying about you. But I think that you both, what you talked about is that this business is even bigger than the business. It's even bigger than, because there's a passion and a value behind it, and demonstrating your values. And so I want to, building off of that and recognizing the impact of like, yes, the spice and the sauce, but also what's behind it, the ethos behind it. What are your plans on scaling? I know we're giving you this platform. I mean, spice is going to the world. Like, what are your plans for scaling the business and thinking about that? And then, Chinara, when you talk, I want to have you talk about co-packing, because a couple of people have asked in a number of different ways, what's been your experience with co-packing and any tips you would give on that? So, Brittany, what sauce is all over the East Coast, all over the world now, because people are buying it. I'm sure you're seeing it. So what are your plans for scaling?
So we want to grow our business to become a household name, so that people can replace their ketchup or barbecue sauce with Lady J sauce. And so we want to make sure that we strengthen our food service by putting more emphasis into our Lady J Cafe, since we also cater and have the specialty items that people can try our sauce with. And so lastly, more exposure for our sauce. So like you said, across the East Coast, across the world, we want Lady J sauce, everybody to have a bottle or 2 or 3 or 4. I
bought 3. I'm buying 6 more. I might buy that 12 pack for the team. You might get a present. Yes.
And so we're working on some more things for the future. I can't disclose it at this time, but be sure to follow us on social media at Lady J Sauce and subscribe to our mailing list to be the first to know what we have going on. But definitely be on the lookout for Lady J Sauce, and Lady J Cafe, because we will be doing some things in the future.
I love it. Lady J Cafe. I love it. I love it. How about you, Chinara? What's next for Spice Living? And I've seen you grow over just these years. You started with spices, but you've been scaling. But what's next?
One of the things that I think has worked well, that I want to expand on, is getting into more restaurants and more caterers. That seems to be very consistent income. Relying on your retail customers is great, but knowing that I have a restaurant or a caterer that I could be, providing my spices to is something that I didn't start off with the desire to do that, but as they come and approach me, I'm like, okay, this is something that I need to just continue to expand on a little more. So that's probably number 1 on my list. Also taking a deeper look into subscriptions, monthly Spice Box subscriptions. So if you all want subscriptions, let me know. Subscriptions are a great way for, any entrepreneur. We all know how many subscriptions we have, right? Like I probably have at least 30 subscriptions of all kinds of things, right? And I'm blessed to have a group of women that surround me that are entrepreneurs, and they are like subscriptions are working great for them. So I think I'm going to explore subscriptions a little more. That's pretty much it for me for the short term. For the long term, years down the road, I would love to have a brick and mortar. I would love to have a nice, cute, quaint spice shop slash place where I can host cooking classes. That's probably years from now when I retire from my 9 to 5, which will be, I'm claiming that's 5 years from now. I want to be done. But that is something that I'm really passionate about. I really, really am in some deep prayer about making sure that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And there might be somebody on here that has a brick and mortar and they've been thinking about, oh, wouldn't it be great in this block if we had a spice shop? It would just complement all of it. I know we have real estate folks. I see y'all on here. So please reach out, and that might not be such a long-term goal, prayerfully. So that is excellent. Let me ask this question. We have confirmed, I think Jackie has confirmed, Oprah is watching now. So great, her and a couple of other investors. Why are you laughing? This is serious. So love for you to give all of us advice, right? From Oprah who's watching, to those of us who are consumers, to those of us who are in industry. Hopefully there's some restaurant tours on here. We're going to tag a couple so that they come back and watch this and think about how they can become wholesale clients of yours. But can you tell us, like, what can we do to support your businesses? What can we do to ensure that you not only start, but that you thrive and that you continue to meet those scale points, right? The things that you talked about, where this is going. How can we all be a part of that success, that build? So Brittany, tell us, how can we be early investors in the success, the monumental success of Lady J? And the same with you, Chinara.
So for Lady J, for us, it would be spreading the word about Lady J and about Lady J sauce and everything that we offer, but also visiting ladyjsauce.com and placing the order so that you can experience Lady J sauce on your own and understand why people are ranting and raving about our sauce and how good it is. That way you can get your own experience. And then also provide helpful resources in order for us to be able to expand our business so that we can move forward with building our dreams and making sure Lady J's legacy lives on.
Yeah. We talked about the capital piece, y'all. So thinking about being investors, coming in as investors in the business. Excellent. Chinara, how about you?
Yeah, I would say, in addition to just actually purchasing and sharing the word, one thing that I would find very useful is just sharing information. So if someone sees, a notice for a grant or, any type of funding, or even if it's a new group, a networking group or event or something, like feel free to just send them my way, send me an email and say, hey, I think this might be something that you might be interested in. The sharing of the information is something that I think would help me a lot. I also think that if there are any other chefs, caterers, restaurant owners, collaboration, if you want to collaborate with me, reach out. I'm very approachable. I would love, Brittany and I already said we got something down the line. We don't know what yet, but we have something down the line. So I'm definitely open to any type of collaborations. Even if you aren't in food service, if you are in, if you make jewelry and you want to, figure out a way, like I feel like there's always a way that people can come together and find commonalities. So if you just say, hey, I like this business concept, I just want to reach out to her, just reach out, and I'm sure we can figure out a way to be able to work together.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we all took notes on the ways we can support collaborations. Make sure you get information on all the different programs. 10,000 Small Business Program. Make sure you get information to apply, get in. But let me ask you all this question, which is, we've received it a number of different ways. And we know we have college students on, we have high school students, we have seasoned entrepreneurs, up and coming, those who are just getting started. But knowing all that you know now, what advice would you give yourself at the start of your business? Like, I wish somebody had told me that. I wish I knew that. I wish I had faith in that, because it would have helped me to just stay steady. So what are some of those things that you say, I wish I knew, if only I'd known then what I know now? Brittany, what would you say?
I would start off with, don't count yourself out. Because I know for me, when I heard about the competition and entering it and then immediately disqualifying our business, that's not something you should do. You should always believe you can do anything you put your mind to, honestly. And just having that drive to get things done, making sure you put your best foot forward, getting testimonials from other people, and just hearing their story of how your business helped them. It just helps you keep going with your business. So don't count yourself out, keep going, and just do what you know you can do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Your story of like looking on that website and realizing you were in a competition. Scary, but yes, don't give up. Excellent. Chanel, what would you say? What would your advice to your former self?
My advice to my former self is to prioritize wellness. Like so often we focus on the business and we want the business to grow and to expand, and then we forget about ourselves in the process. There have been many days where I have been like so overwhelmed, and it takes a toll on you, as a mom. And like I mentioned before, I still have a full-time job and I'm a wife. Being overwhelmed is just, it does me no good. It does the business no good, and it does my family no good. So really setting like expectations of what I expect from myself as an owner, and what do I expect from my business, like how the growth that I really expect, and how I'm going to get from point A to point B, and not be overwhelmed and not take on too much that I can't handle. It's really there's tends to be a comparison game, and starting off, it's almost inevitable to not compare your business to other businesses. Yeah. And I had to, tell myself that I needed to get out of that. Like, I'm in my own lane. I excel at my own time, and I can't kill myself in the process. So I think that's the biggest piece of advice that I would give anyone that's looking to start is, don't compare, pace yourself, know what your limits are. Because, mental health, it should be a priority. Self-care should be a priority. Because if not, you'll be no good to your business and no good to anyone else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great advice. Extremely important advice for everyone watching. Let me ask this question, which has come up a couple of different times, that you both have talked about the challenges of being a business owner. But you both keep going. And so the question has been phrased many different ways, but I'm going to ask, what keeps you going? What has allowed for you to face those challenges, those barriers, and overcome them, and not stop or say, this is too much? Brittany, what's kept you going then, Chinara?
Keeping my grandmother's legacy alive is one main thing for me. And then also my family. My family are my team members. So it's 5 of us. And so in order for our business to work, we have to work together to make sure we keep the business going and continue striving to get to where we want to be in the future. So I want to say thank you to my mom, my dad, my brother, my husband, and my kids when they join the business. So just including everybody and being able to work together to keep our family business going.
Excellent, excellent. Chinara, how about you? What keeps you going?
Of course, knowing my kids are watching, I have a 9-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son, and specifically for my daughter, knowing that she's watching her mom, and and she decides to become an entrepreneur when she grows up, great. If not, that's fine too. But I want her to at least know that the sacrifices that I made for her future to be better. And also my customers, they keep me going. Sometimes when I might be slacking in business, my customers can feel it. They call me up and they say, "Hey, I've been on your website for the whole past week and I can't find winter chicken dinner." And I'm like, okay, let me get on my game and make sure you have what you need. But they keep me going. Like, they definitely motivate me as well.
Excellent, excellent. I want to give people a chance to see those spices, see those things that are the reason why you keep going. So Brittany, show us some of your. I have the website up because I'm going to buy some for the team. They might get a present, a big box. All right, tell us what are you showing us now?
So I have
those are big bottles.
Lady J sauce. I have the Old Lady Original, and then I also have our Old Lady Original Vegan. And the difference between the two, you'll see the black cap on the original and then the green cap on the vegan, so you can distinguish between the two. But these are our Lady J sauce bottles that we have that are 5 ounces. So yeah.
Excellent. I have a couple of veganites on my team. So yeah, they're gonna be so happy.
LadyJSauce.com.
LadyJSauce.com. All right, we got it. Chinara, show us all of your spices.
I have just a few of our standard size spice bottles. I also have the big, what I call the big boys. This is comparable to, a wholesale size. I also have the restaurant size. But
give us some of the names. I love the names of your spices.
This is Alicia's favorite. So this is the Ain't No Jive turkey. Because we're not messing up the turkey for Thanksgiving. We have our candy yam spice and our Chesapeake Bay seafood seasoning. This is great on all kinds of fish. We have Cajun. I have a rotisserie. I have over 25 spice blends. They're seasonal, so it rotates each season, but I have over 25 spice blends. This one I named after my grandmother.
Oh, that's so good.
This is King for fried chicken and fried fish. And I also have my home fragrance line. So I have my candles, my reed diffusers. I have my bath and body products. Just come visit my site. This is a nice body scrub. So just come visit my site and take your time. Like I say, ask me any questions. I'm free to answer any questions if you're not sure what you want to buy. Oh, and gift cards. We offer gift cards. Gift cards are great for the holiday season.
Okay, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get a gift card too. Okay, so you both of your websites are in the chat. They're on Facebook. Do you have designated recipes for your spices? I'm gonna let y'all get that in. You have designated recipes for your spices, Chinara?
Yeah, so I see the question. So I have ones that I recommend for certain things. So I have a spice Bible on my website. So you can go and look at all of my spices. If you see something in the spice Bible that you don't see for sale, you can contact me and I can customize it for you. But yeah, I literally have something for everything.
Excellent. Go on their websites. Remember, we have a discount code, JH Connects, for today and tomorrow for Chinara, today through Sunday for Brittany. Go buy your bottles and your spices. This has been an absolute pleasure for me. I've had so much fun, but from the comments that I see on Facebook and in the chat, everyone seems to have had a great time hearing both of your stories. And we just wish you and pray for you to continue to have continued blessings, bountiful, and multiply what you have now in the future, because it benefits us all. So thank you both. Let me wrap us up and then we're going to get back. I'm going to close out. So next week, we're going to return with 2 entrepreneurs in the bathroom industry. Kamos Muhammad of Freedom Paper Company. Don't worry, I'm telling you, you can buy everything within our community, and you're going to see why next week. Kamosi Muhammad of Freedom Paper Company and Warren Seatal of Silent Venus. Don't miss it. I promise you, you won't want to miss that one. Follow us on JH Connects on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Email feedback to jhconnects@jhu.edu. I want to thank our partners, Johns Hopkins University, Johns Hopkins Health System, Hopkins Local, the Mayor's Office of Small Minority Women-Owned Business, the 10,000 Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, the Warnock Foundation, as well as Bloomberg Philanthropies. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Chinara. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure.